Right. Feeling good. Feeling good. I got out of work early. Went did some run around. Got something for the truck. Had lunch with one of the homies from work. You know, and it's been chill. Been chill. I try to take a nap when I get home, but it's hotter than shit. Like summertime's already here in Texas, so I'm trying not to run the AC because that's a bill I ain't trying to pay. Let's get into tonight's conversations. I got a couple things. I haven't even pulled them up yet. I got a couple things I got to pull up here. Um, we're gonna talk some government employees, right? We're gonna talk what I say. We're gonna talk about beards again. I ain't got my glasses on. I can't see this screen. It's only like 2 feet away from me. And then let's talk. We might have time for this on the trans ban, right? Um, separation policy that just came out. I'm trying to find the actual policy. It was pretty cut and dry, really, on that. But let's get into the show tonight. First thing, I've had people ask me because I've been covering, a lot of this stuff going on right now, um, with the new SecDef, with the new administration, and a lot of the things that are affecting the military and service right now. Now, to what degree you believe that to be, I think is, uh, it's very situational. For some people, like the new all nav that came out that it says transgender service members will not be allowed to serve. That impacts a very small percentage, but those people very directly. Right. Also, right now in the chat, if you're having a sip tonight, let me know what you're sipping on. I got the good old fashioned pirate rations. So cheers to you. Drink responsibly. All right. As you can see, I'm not driving, so I'm drinking. All right. Um. So a lot of these things come down, and that's what So we'll get it down the road. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Government employees. I don't even know. It's already fucking. Did a new CRA, a budget, get signed tonight? Did Congress sign a DOD budget? I don't even know if they did. It's one of those. Yeah, okay, 4 hours ago. Senate passes 6-month funding bill hours before deadline. Okay. So, damn it. I was hoping they were going to shut it down. It's always one of those things every year. It's like, for the last motherfucking, I don't know, since like 2008, we haven't been able to get an actual budget passed. It's just a CRA, and then blah, 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 bullshit. And nothing ever really happens. And eventually, like, we got to pay that piper and just be like, no, it's going to shut down until we get this shit right. But everyone's always scared to do it. And then always, all the time, if you ever read any of the bills, they're always adding shit, taking shit out, they're sliding shit in on the slide. Like, oh, no, this is not just a DOD bill or a whole budget bill, right? But it's also like, well, we'll pass it if we could get this in, if we could let that in. And it's a crock of shit, if you ask me. But no one is. So, a big part of this and things going on is the civilians, our general service, government service workers, right? Nikki's one. A lot of friends got 3 that work for me with at work. A lot of retirees love to go get that GS job. Okay, and let's ask ourselves why. Okay. A lot of them are scared. I started reading this Reddit called Fed News, and man, they're blowing that up. The TikToks, the Instagram reels of people who've been teleworking for the last 5 years since COVID stuff, right? Which teleworking is a great thing, right? If you can do it and your company allows it, I think it's a great thing. But when it came out, SecDef was like, everyone's going to return to work. And you're a government employee, and that means your telework shit was over and you need to get your ass to work, then to me, like, what beef do you have with that? You signed up for this job. Now, some jobs since COVID stuff were like a telework. They advertised it as like a major telework option or to some degree. It differs depending on what your job is, right? Um, there's routine, there's regular and routine. My guys, they have like regular and routine where they can take so many days. They have to have a schedule. It has to be pre-planned. It's not just like at a whim of, oh, hey, yeah, I'm not coming in today because I don't feel like it and I can telework. It's not supposed to be like that at all. It's supposed to be very structured, very organized, and it's the same thing where like, hey, on Wednesdays, Thursdays they telework. It's always Wednesday and Thursday. That's what it is, right? Or Monday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever it is, and that's cool. But then some of them, they've been teleworking like 100% all the time, every time, and now they're being told they got to return to work. There's some people that I work with at a distance. I'll say, just try to keep it like low key. Oh, Red Eye Rich, thanks for joining the broadcast, Red Eye Rich. You're you're such a good friend, Red Eye Rich. Thanks for subscribing and leaving a comment, buddy. You keep doing great things. All right, and little fucking guy. He just wants me to get off here so I could go save him on Warzone. Anyways, he throwing me off here. There, we had someone that I worked with that at a distance, right? They did something that provided us information where I work. All of a sudden, they're not working no more, and one can only suspect it was because this person teleworked, which I don't like. That's not my business. That's between her and her people up there at that job. But when I've talked to them in the past, it was like, yeah, they lived states away from their job, okay, and then they were told they got to return to the office, and they're like, fuck that, I'm not returning shit. Which I can understand if you're living 2 or 3 states away, and all of a sudden you don't want to go back to the state where your job originated from. But also, like, how can anyone try to be getting mad about that, right? Same thing. There's someone in the office working, teleworking still, but they had to return to some kind of office, and they found it. I gotta remember not to eat ice on mic. It's a bad habit. Um, so my question about the government employees is, why are so many people up in a fit about it if we knew if they're supposed to be? This is what a couple things, because I was talking about a government employee about this the other day. One, I think the messaging that our former CNO, not just her, but a lot of people. I say her because this is who. Oh man. Well, this will be fun. What was I gonna say? I was saying, okay, so CNO, prior CNO, would a lot of I seen it ramp up over the last few years, right? Definitely 2 or 3, last 5 probably. About all the messaging was always about how thank you to the sailors and the civilians, and like the thank you became a lot bigger and wider of who was making the mission happen. And I always thought that was not a good message to be sending, right? It wasn't a good message to be. Are those DoD employees important? Absolutely, they're important, but they should get their own thank you separate from the service members' thank you, right? Even though many are retirees, veterans, right? Like, thank them for what they're doing separate from us, because whether they've done or not done it, like, they're not doing it now. So if you're going to say thank you to the service members for completing the mission and the sacrifices they make, then give them that thank you, right? But don't start grouping in like all these other groups, because then it becomes this like, oh no, like everyone is as equal and special as the service member. Not to say that we're more so, but I do believe that service members deserve and earn and sacrifice enough to get their own thank you, right? And I don't want to be roped in with the bigger overall of everyone to be like, oh no, we got to thank our civilians with them. Why? We're not all, generally speaking. Well, they're not. They're not standing. What duty are they standing? What watches are they standing? You know what I'm saying? What is the big sacrifice they're making? Now, some they do go on carriers and do the LS job for them, right? They go and take care of all your aviation DLRs for you because you can't. Some of them do all your financial budgeting for you LSs on carriers because you can't, right? And that's just a bone I got to pick because like they do that, and I just laugh at them like, y'all don't even know how to do your own shit. Like you have civilians doing it for you, closing you out and stuff. So miss me with that fucking carrier's hard, right? If you got civilians on the ship with you doing some of your job, miss me with it, okay? Um, and that's the other part of it is like, why do we need civilians doing those jobs? Why aren't we just making those jobs for sailors? Why aren't we recruiting more, making more billets, and putting sailors to work in those positions? Right? Only for us to be in this position now where, for instance, the credit cards for civilians, we're talking about government purchase cards, right? If you're in the supply world, you know what I'm talking about. They've all been frozen. And for the civilians that might be watching or anything, right? So if we have a purchasing, we have a means of purchasing equipment and supplies that is a credit card. If that program is ran or conducted by civilian government employees, and now that's been frozen, now you have no one to run that program. If that is the only way you're purchasing things and you don't have no one to do that program to make those purchases because that's been frozen in accordance with these executive orders, what are you supposed to do? One argument on one side might be like, well, you're supposed to not freeze those credit cards. You should let them do their job. Maybe, but that's not what we're operating under, right? We're operating under this commander in chief, this SecDef, and this is what's being done. For what reason? Bigger picture, I can't really say. We could talk about fraud, waste, and abuse, government savings, making sure that again, if we're solely dependent on a civilian to do the job, then what kind of military are we if we don't have military people to do that job too, right? They're supposed to be there for the continuity to keep things going, but if they're our sole source, we're kind of in a fucked up spot, right? So I don't mind it. I don't mind that those things are coming down. I hope the employees that want to stick around stick around. I don't hope. I don't hope. I hope that families aren't too impacted. Some will be. That's the bottom line, right? Like some will be impacted. To what degree, I don't know. But like shit happens, right? You should always be planning and getting your life together for in case the shit happens. And to that point, also it's funny because someone always tells me that government service, they say the military and government service are the biggest welfare programs that the government has. And that's funny, and I laugh at it, right? And I laugh at it. Well, first, they say the military is the biggest welfare program, and I'm like, well, maybe, except a lot are out there working hard and sacrificing a lot for this welfare program, right? Um, do some of us get the opportunity every now and then to leave at noon and still get our full paycheck? Absolutely. And how many more of us have spent 12, 18, 24 hours, watch standing, working, doing watch standing, more work, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a service member, you know what I'm talking about, where you've definitely put in enough hours to earn back a half day here and there, right? You've put in more than enough hours at such a shitty pay, right? Talking about like the grunts and the jarheads and the infantry, like, so the infantry guys out there, life on the line for a shit paycheck. Yeah, I think they deserve to take a half day or miss a couple days. And to me, it's just like them fucking trying to make it even. So to call like the military the biggest welfare project, I think it's not far off, but it's also laughable. Now, where I'd say that I think a big welfare program is government service, right? A large part of it, okay, and especially as I work closer and closer with it, it's really interesting to see the different people on how they go about their government service, especially retirees and veterans. Some treat it just like it's a job, right? They show up, they put in their 8 hours, they do what they're asked to, they do what they're told to. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's a job, right? They understand where they fit in the picture. They don't overstep. They don't understep. Right there, they're there. They got their job description. They do their job. That's great. You got others that cannot put down or leave the uniform in the closet and think that they got to bust it out and remind people of their own service, right? That they're always reflecting on, well, when I was in, we did it like this, or when I was in, it was like that, or I have this to prove, I have that to prove, I can't let that happen because I'm a retired E9, so that's not, and it's like, what are we talking like? You weren't hired as a retired fucking whatever. You were hired to do this job. And this job is just that job. That's it. Right? We didn't hire you for your input or mentorship for the CEO or any other department head, right? You were hired to do this job. Some people might not like to hear that, but that's the truth. There's a young civilian that works there, and he's always like, "Oh, hey chief, hey chief." He's prior service, and I'm like, "Hey Bob, you could just call me Josh, right? Like you're a civilian, dude. Like I'm gonna call you Bob. You can call me Josh." And they're just like, no, like it's something hard because they're not that far removed from their service, right? But like that person, I think maybe because they're younger and they didn't do such a long time of service, they understand like they're just there to do a job. Other ones, man, they're all about all the extra shit. And it really makes me scratch my head and think like, what do we've talked about this a little bit before here, right? um oh, I'm all out of that, so that's fine. We've talked a little bit about here, like, what do I want to do? Where do I see myself working and doing? And unfortunately, part of that is probably back on base somewhere doing something that with that in mind, and have this perspective of everything that's going on now, and then also watching other people do it. I definitely do not want to be one of the ones that is always leaning on my service, my anchor, from my yesteryears and things like that. um, I want it to be something that we can share, and maybe a sea story here and there. But then all I want to be is just, Josh Moore, just showing up, punching in, punching out, taking my Union 15, my 30-minute lunch, and then going home and leaving the rest of it alone. And I think it's that portion of so many people that have retired and, a lot of years service, and then they get right back into it because they want to be plugged back into what they feel comfortable with, what they know, and even more importantly, a lot, I think, they want the big job where they're still as important as they were, or they perceive to be, when they were active duty. You know what I mean? They want to be the civilian that's in charge of things. So because you had to go to them when they were, the mass chief here, the department head there, the 04, 05 here and there, right? So now they want the GS position. And how many of us have heard about retirees in a billet somewhere, right? And they're like, man, I really like this job. This is pretty easy. I'm a 04, I'm a 05, I'm a mass chief. This is a cool job. You know what? I think this job would even be better if it was a civilian job. And they get to talking to the other civilians there and the other military, and they get it turned into, they take that billet away from the military and they turn it into a civilian billet. And who's the first hire in it? That retiree that just retired 6 months ago, right? It just miraculously opens up right on time for them to come right back, same job, but they're not, in the uniform anymore. They're just, Bob and Jill, Bill and Jill, back there in civvies, living it up. That shit, it happens, and that is crazy. I don't like it. I think that's fucking crooked, and I think that is what Doge, if you will, SecDef, commander in chief. I think, not to say they know those exact things happen, but I think that's what they're going after. I think that's what they're trying to stamp out. They're trying to find those places, those people in those positions who are abusing, and taking advantage of, using it as a welfare system, and they're trying to get rid of it. Which again, for me, I don't got a problem with it. I think if you're doing the job, great. You should do the job. If they're told you to return to work, you should return to work. But I don't think you should be posting up Instagram reels and other bullshit talking about how your family is being torn apart because, you know, your husband or your spouse or your girlfriend or your wife have to return to work after they've been having the best time of their life for the last 5 years, making all the money, getting to take the kids to school, going on field trips, doing this and that. And you can sit there and be like, well, all that should matter is the work being done. Yeah, sure. That's all that should matter, along with wherever your job tells you that work has to be done at. Right. I think we as a society, especially after COVID stuff, are getting real used to being like, oh, well, you have a choice. You do have a choice. You can be employed here, or you cannot be employed here. But to be employed here, that job requires you to be at this place, at this position, doing the job. Trust. If I could do everything from home, I would. Right? It's not like I'm against telework. I'm not. I'm very pro telework. I think it's great. But you can't get your fucking panties up in a bunch and be butthurt about it when they tell you get the fuck back to work, and you're just like, wait, what? Huh? Yeah, your job says you need to be here at this office now. What do you? What the fuck? You know, that's the shit that gets me. So I think that's about it for the government employee stuff, right? Let me know down in the comments, how are you feeling about it? Again, I hope people make the right choice to take care of their family, and whatever that decision ends up being, that's on you. All right. Um, with that, the other let's see if I can pull this one up. SecDef standards memo. So, all right, SecDef pulled out this memo here. Do. Let me see if I can do a share screen. Oh yeah, there it is. Right. Rapid force wide review. Man, the way that reads is fucking tricky. Rapid force wide review of military standards. This I know is going to have people tight. High standards are what made the United States military the greatest fighting force on the planet. The strength of our military is our unity and our shared purpose. I do agree. We're made stronger and more disciplined with high, uncompromising, clear standards. Yes. Directing all these people to do all this stuff. Review the standards and how they changed since January 1st, 2015. The review will also provide insight on why those standards change and the impact of those changes. All right, so before we all get crazy, I think that's a very important sentence right there. The review will also provide insight on why those standards changed and the impact of those changes. All right, first change I want to see right now, quick, straight out the gate, is the reversal of being able to have your hands in your pockets. I said it. Right? I don't correct nobody now because it's allowed. As soon as it's not allowed again, I'm gonna correct you. Okay. Why was that allowed? Somebody answer it now. Why did we allow them to have their hands in their pockets? Okay. It made my anxiety and my blood pressure go through the roof. Okay. They have the authority to task secretaries and military departments, other components, heads if necessary, blah, blah, blah. We must remain vigilant in maintaining the standards and enable the men and women of our military to protect the American people in our homeland as the world's most lethal and effective fighting force. Our adversaries are not growing weaker, and our tasks are not growing less challenging. This review will illuminate how the department has maintained the level of standards required over the recent past and the trajectory of any change in those standards. SD 29. So, what's that mean for me? One, I'm gonna fail every PFA. That's it. I'm not even bullshitting you. Okay, I be working out. I be trying. It be not happening. Okay. Um, we'll see. We'll see. I think there's a couple things. One, you got the physical fitness standards. Uh, I think we've gone way far away from where we need to be, and this is as a chubby buddy. Okay, we're doing it once a year now. That is giving us such a fucking 9 month off of I don't care about it to then 10-week notice once a year. Let me hurry up, right? I think the Navy, we need to get back to twice a year, and then we need to overhaul this. It's not, the standard doesn't need to be everyone needs to be fucking skinny, right? The standard needs to be we need to be fit. And I think there's a couple of things that came out recently about that, about like, if you get the excellent low on the PFA part, then you could be over the limits and this and that. I think that's great. Excuse me. Um, so that's a step in the right direction. I think more of this stuff is going to hit on some of the, like, this sounds how it sounds, but these are the things that changed. The female standards, those changed the most, right? And people are going to point to, well, of course, SecDef, Commander in Chief are attacking the female standards. Well, that maybe it's true. I don't know. I can't say yes or no to that. But if 99% of the things that have changed over the last however many years are all the female standards, as far as like grooming appearances go, right? Because we said we're going to talk about beards. How can we talk about beards if we don't have fucking beards, right? So if most of the things that changed are female specific, that's what's going to get looked at the most of why we changed those things. Now, most of them, I don't think I really have a problem with. Like fingernail polish colors, I think we're at a point where um, every now and then you'll see a sailor somewhere with maybe not the correct one, right color or something, but most of them aren't that bad, right? We're not doing nothing crazy out there. It's all, again, what are we trying to look for? Professional. I don't see anything that are unprofessional. I think the ponytails, I think a ponytail is unprofessional. Not that a bun is more professional. I just think that it provides for a opportunity of a very sloppy look from what I see of how they're done. Okay. Uh, just like a lot of male haircuts out there with their fucking stupid fucking Edgars, their fucking stupid wannabe fucking mullet things. They're so fucking ugly. And I tell the sailors all the time, like what the fuck is one? Your haircut's fucked up. Okay. It's not in accordance with. So it needs to get fixed. All right. And they're like, what are you talking about, Chief? It's not the same fucking all the way around. What is it? Symmetrical, right? Like there's supposed to have a taper or a fade around. It's like you have a fucking mullet. Like what are we talking about? That means again, so but that wasn't changed. It's just fucking knucklehead sailors trying to get away with shit, right? So I like we can't talk about that change. There was no change. That's just a corrective measure that you have to do out there yourself. All those other changes, again, I nail polish stuff, don't really fucking care. I think we're pretty on point with that. The ladies are, right. Ponytails, I don't think they look professional. I think it's an opportunity to look very sloppy. I don't see many done at all in accordance with, and it's just not a good look, right? Here on the training base where I'm at, I see a lot of Army, Air Force, and Navy where it's all just very fucking not good looking, right? It just doesn't. It's a very like I think of a pony as like athletic, do up for athletic things, and you're like, well, they're working. That's not what I'm talking about. Like it's not the same. It's hastily like just I don't know, man. I don't know. Like y'all gonna try to get at me. I just don't think it looks professional. The beard thing, beards was mentioned. How the only thing I can see here, right, is if they start um making the I talked about this on the chaplain episode a little bit. Excuse me. If they start making the religious requirements more strict, right? To like specific religions, right? Or they make you provide some kind of extra proof or more certain proof on your religion, which I don't know how much they could go down that road with that, right? That's a touchy subject. It doesn't matter what religion you are. Again, I've said it before. I think well, some people are making up bullshit, right? That they're fucking they're Norse pagan this or that fucking hooyah, just so they could grow a fucking beard, right? And I think commanding officers are signing off on it because they don't want to be the commanding officer to say no. Like, you've not shown me enough evidence in your religious practices for me to say yes to this, because they're gonna get labeled fucking something, right? They're gonna get labeled a fucking I don't know, whatever the fucking word is for anti-religion of pick your religion, right? Um, so I think a lot of them take the easy way out and they go, sure, you've shown me enough. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I think for the brothers out there, I think if you start trying to track back to where that we had that a few years ago of like, oh, if you can't get it fixed, then you have to have laser removal. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're gonna have people laser remove their fucking hair just to serve? I think that's bullshit, right? I think there are definitely people out there that have skin conditions that need to be seen and medicated and things like that. And for those, what's wrong with that little bit of a beard, right? Again, it's all within what's with it. What is the regulation? Can we keep it within regulation? Does that regulation look professional? I think plenty of them do. I think plenty of them take it overboard, right? By overboard meaning they don't trim it, they don't keep it clean. Um, like, how hard is it just to get like a little line up on your beard? You know, the neck area, the chin, or the cheek area. You know what I mean? Keep it lower than that eighth, quarter of inch, whatever the fuck it is nowadays, right? And just keep it professional like that. So I hope that's the direction when we say beards. I hope the direction SecDef is going is beards are professional. I I I, I doubt that he's going that way, but I'm fingers crossed that he is. Beards are and they can be professional, and that we need to get over this fucking era of, you know, we all need to be clean shaven all the fucking time, and clean shaven is the only way we're gonna fucking win the war. Like, that is it's just fucking crock of shit. Okay, uh, who was I talking to the other day that was trying to tell me like, oh, I can't say, like, maybe if you're in a specific uh career field within the military, that is proven. We've had these studies, right? Looking at MCPON, looking at everyone, up there at the Pentagon, that where these Navy studies at still haven't been released. What, 3-4 years later or some shit? Where's all these Navy studies about? Can we get a SEAL with our SCBA fucking air mask, right, with a beard, and then to what length? So I hope that SecDef SD29 is going that route with it. That he is trying to make everyone release these studies and that we see them and that we go, yes, we can have beards, right? Across the male forces, right? That we can have beards. That the fingernail polish, why was it changed? Why the fuck not? Right? It's still professional. Again, I think the only thing I'm really against is like the ponytails. I think they look sloppy because a lot of ladies don't take the time and effort to make it professional looking. I think it could look professional. I just think it doesn't. People don't take time for it. Other than that, really, from like the grooming standards, I don't see anything else Navy wise. Let me know, chat, if there's anything in your branch specific. Other than that, I don't got too much. The big one's going to be the standards of fitness. Excuse me, allergies out here tonight. Um, Again, Navy going from 2 a year to 1 a year. Why? Why do we do that? It has been over. We're still using that as a crutch and an excuse for what fucking reason? That's what I'm lost on. So why don't we go back to 2? And what's gonna suck is when we do that and we're trying to still recruit people and get our numbers up, but then we start losing people to fucking, hey, fail. What is it right now for the Navy? Fail as many as you want, doesn't fucking matter. Keep going, Navy. What are we talking about? And then the juniors that are out there that have always yelled about wanting a standard and not lowering our standard, that the lower your standard thing that Russ Smith didn't say something like that. They didn't want to be told for them to lower their standards, but it's always okay for the Navy to lower the standards of expectations for them, right? Fuck out of here. Okay. We need to get back to two. We need to probably start kicking people out, which I don't want to because we need them, right? But like, there's people going on 3 or 4 failures probably. There's some people that you just know. Like I said, I'm the first one to say I'm chubby, okay, but there are some out there that are beyond chubby, okay. We're talking about the F word, fat, big, very big. That you just look at them like, what is this person doing, right? I don't get it. We should do something about it. When I say we should do something about it, I mean that overhaul. I think in that category is warranted. Okay, and last one, because this one is a short one. There's not much to really. I don't think there's much to talk about it. Right? Is the uh this all nav? I don't think this is the exact. This isn't the all nav, but for the trans sailors, they have to be out by March 28th. I think this says right, and voluntary separate by March 28th, or after that they will be separated. That was the pretty much on that right there. Okay, you go read the all nav. It was like you can voluntarily separate. The United States government and military is no longer recognizing um what is it gender dysphoria as a qualifying whatever it is to serve. Hey, look on that one. I've had a sailor that was going through the process. They did not finish. They were separated because of PFA failures. That brief experience, I did not think it was a good idea. I think it's a very very sticky. I don't want to be like go down to too many details of it, but it's a very sticky situation. I'd be interested in learning more about it. Of like, what happens when they don't have the surgeries, which is optional, right? But they're still have boy parts, but they're identifying as a female. What birthing do they go to? They go to the female birthing because their dear gender marker was updated to female, but they still have boy parts. Like that that's got to be concerning, right? Um that's just got to be concerning. That's the shit that makes me like I don't understand how commands are out there dealing with it. So I'd like to hear like if you have a story or something how your command dealt with it, or you personally dealt with it. If you've been in that situation as a person or as someone that has uh witnessed it, it's yeah. So I feel bad partly for those individuals, just because they're serving, they're doing their job, they're hopefully not bothering anybody and showing up, and at the forefront of their service every day is the mission, and that's gonna suck, right? There's waivers that they could try to get and stay in and stuff, but other than that, as a overall arching kind of like thing, I as far as the Navy goes, like dealing with birthings and stuff, I don't know how people are dealing with it. I think it puts an undue stress in that. Again, I don't have much experience with it. I said the one sailor that was transitioning that worked for me, um, they had a lot of issues as far as I tell you, I sat down and talked to him one time because they're using a lot of inappropriate language at that time as a woman transitioning to a man, uh, that would get any other regular, normal, cisgender man in trouble, right? Hey, babe, what can I help you with? Hey, sweetie, just come over here. I'll sign that for you. Like pet names like that. And I was like, what? Like, what the fuck? And I talked to them. I was like, yo, you can't fucking talk to people like that. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And one, I don't care if fucking woman or not. Don't care if you like women. Like, that shit is fucking wrong. We don't talk like that. It's unprofessional. Two, like, you realize men especially don't get to talk to women like that. Just random ass women. Like, that shit don't fly. And it really, like, it was just a really cool, just like one-on-one, me and her, maybe him now, right? Don't know. right? That person has moved on. Uh, but and you see, they had this epiphany of like, oh shit, oh, I never thought about it like that before. And that's where I was like, what the fuck are you thinking about then? Right? Like, have you not thought about all of this? And you know, that's all I'll say about that. It was crazy, but March 28th, the voluntary separate. After that, they'll be involuntarily separated, and we'll move on from that. I think that's all I got tonight. I just want to jump on and share a little bit with you guys about the couple of these things that are going on. Well, we'll be back. Uh, I think we might do some live shows from the road. Maybe. Got some leave coming up next week. About to go see the kids and the wife out there in San Diego. It's then me and the kids are gonna take a little road trip back here. We're gonna spend spring break back here fishing in the pond and shit. So looking forward to that. If you're in San Diego while I'm there, hit me up and we can link up and you know, talk shit. That's all I got for tonight, everyone. Don't forget, all right, the views and opinions are solely of myself, Joshua Moore, and do not represent the DOD, DON, or any of the respected institutions in or around that I work with and for. And it's just me talking some stuff to you, the listener and viewer. That's all we got tonight. Join us on the next one. We'll be back. We out.